These 8 grandmom life hacks actually work like magic, and the fact nobody is talking about them should scare you a little. Scientists buried them while industries profited from their silence. And in all of these, your grandmother figured all of this out decades before any lab did. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why they wanted everything to remain hidden. Multi-generational living. In the 1950s, 3 generations living under one roof still felt normal in much of America. Grandparents were responsible for watching children as parents worked and later shared bills. But by the 1960s, many planners and psychologists pushed a different model, one where privacy became the new ideal. Suburbs spread fast, nursing homes expanded, and large households got framed as backward or unhealthy. That shift looked modern and more sustainable at first, but the numbers now paint a completely different picture. Studies from the Pew Research Center showed multi-generational homes climbed for decades after cost, loneliness, and elder care problems surged. Researchers also found children in close extended families often show stronger emotional stability and low stress markers. Older adults report lower depression rates when family contact stays frequent. The irony in all these is that America spent billions building institutional care systems, yet many outcomes still do not come close to what families once handled inside ordinary homes. That only tells you one thing: that old dinner table carried more than nostalgia. It carried resilience, which makes the next question more hard-hitting. If entire family structures got redesigned, what happened to the food traditions inside those kitchens? Eating fruit and vegetable skins. For decades, peeling fruit looked like common sense. It was taught in schools, and restaurants followed health codes built around spotless produce. Even cookbooks published in this era treated skins as rough, dirty, and hazardous to public health. As a result, millions of families stripped apples, potatoes, and cucumbers before eating them. But modern nutrition research flipped that belief upside down. Apple peels contain large amounts of fiber and other micronutrients linked to gut and heart health. Potato skins are rich in potassium, iron, and vitamin C, and grape skins carry resveratrol, the same compound now sold in anti-aging supplements. And this story gets even stranger once we look at it from the money perspective. Food companies now isolate plant compounds from skins, dry them into powders, seal them into capsules, and market them as premium wellness products. Consumers end up paying extra for nutrients their grandparents once discarded into kitchen bins. You would expect nutrition advice to preserve the richest parts of food. Instead, entire generations learned to remove them first, and that habit reached beyond kitchens too, and into the bedrooms. Short afternoon naps. By the 1960s, falling asleep after lunch carried a reputation problem. Employers saw it as laziness, and schools sent tired students to principals. Even doctors warned daytime sleep could disrupt nighttime rest. And that was enough to make millions of Americans fight natural fatigue instead of listening to it. In fact, that belief shaped workplace culture for decades. Being busy meant someone was productive. Exhaustion became a badge of ambition. But modern sleep science has poked holes into that entire premise. NASA researchers found short naps improved alertness and performance among pilots and astronauts. But that's not all. Sleep researchers at Harvard and Johns Hopkins later linked brief daytime rest to stronger memory retention, faster reaction times, and sharper learning capacity. The sweet spot across all these studies was between 20 and 30 minutes. And now, everyone seems to be in agreement with these findings. Tech firms and financial companies now install nap pods, sleep rooms, and recovery lounges inside office. Consultants charge thousands teaching executives how to nap without entering deep sleep. It's almost funny how companies are now ready to pay for the same behavior early generations got mocked for practicing on living room couches. But the next practice faced harsher treatment. People did not just ridicule it, authorities went after it. Oil pulling with coconut oil. Back in the 1960s, dentists treated oil pulling like a fringe ritual. Mainstream dental groups dismissed it as unscientific. Some practitioners risked professional backlash for promoting traditional remedies outside approved standards. In light of all the criticism, the practice faded from most American homes, even while families in India and part of Africa kept using it after breakfast for generations. But once again, research brought everything to light. This is after studies found coconut oil pulling can reduce levels of the main bacteria linked to plaque and tooth decay. Other reviews report lower plaque buildup and less gum irritation after constant use. As of 2026, the evidence still sits in the early stage. But one thing is undeniable: the pattern keeps appearing across multiple trials. And being the opportunist it always is, the corporate world positioned itself to benefit from this breakthrough. Oil care brands now sell bottled pulling oils, whitening rinses, and coconut-based dental products at premium prices, and people are more than willing to part with whatever amount those companies are demanding. Coming up is a tradition that faced even heavier scrutiny, but for this one, the pressure did not stop with doctors or dentists. Copper jewelry for joint pain. For Grandma, copper bracelets were more than beauty accessories. She wore them for stiff fingers and aching knees. However, for doctors, this practice was less medical and more superstition. Regulators went as far as cracking down on medical claims tied to copper products as the media mocked the trend aggressively. With time, these bracelets became symbols of folk medicine rather than serious treatment. Years later, science proved Grandma right after finding a strong relationship between copper and immune function, connective tissue health, and inflammatory responses inside the body. But that should not be taken to mean that bracelets cure arthritis. Large clinical reviews still debate how much pain relief they provide. Yet, the complete dismissal from earlier decades no longer holds water. And that also explains why modern anti-inflammatory creams, supplements, and medical materials now use copper compounds for antimicrobial and tissue support properties. And now, we get to the one practice they really did not want you to know, because it threatened an entire industry worth billions. Fermented foods. In the 1960s, homemade fermentation started looking suspicious to health authorities. There were public campaigns warning families about contamination risk from home canned and fermented foods. Schools leaned harder towards packed lunches built for consistency and shelf life. That campaign led to many kitchens losing habits that once passed from grandparents to children without recipes or measuring cups. But despite the opposition, modern research now connects fermented foods to gut diversity, immune regulation, and inflammatory control. Stanford researchers found diets rich in fermented foods increased microbiome diversity while lowering several inflammation markers. And just like that, the likes of yogurt, kefir, kimchi, and sauerkraut suddenly moved from old world leftovers to clinical nutrition discussions. The next reversal cuts even deeper. This time, the argument centered on the human body itself. Intermittent fasting. Nutrition advice also pushed constant eating, where breakfast became mandatory and snacks filled lunchboxes, office drawers, and television commercials. Doctors warned that skipping meals could damage metabolism or even drain energy. But many families from the 1950s lived differently without calling it a health strategy. They often ate inside narrow windows because food cost money and routine stayed simple. Late-night snacking barely existed in many homes. Nobody tracked fasting hours. Yet, modern metabolic research now links time-restricted eating to improved insulin sensitivity, lower inflammation, and cellular repair processes tied to longevity. Right now, influencers with millions of followers are posting their fasting windows like morning routines. Wellness apps are charging up to $70 a year just to tell you when to eat, as clinics make a fortune selling structured fasting programs to desperate clients. Everyone acts like this is new, but it has always been around. They just never bothered to look keenly. But there is a hack that connects all of them, and it's the simplest thing your grandmother did without ever thinking twice. Bone broth consumed daily. A stock pot bubbling on the stove used to mean something was still cooking long after the plates were cleared. Bones, onions, celery, and leftover scraps were never wasted. Instead, it was turned into broth without recipes, supplements, or health claims. Then convenience became the end thing. Frozen dinners exploded across American supermarkets, canned soups promised speed, and processed foods arrived packed with added vitamins. With time, slow cooking started looking old-fashioned beside shiny labels and television commercials. But those old pots carried something modern nutrition keeps circling back toward. Bone broth contains collagen, gelatin, amino acids, and minerals associated with joint and gut support. Families once made this broth from scraps headed for the trash. Now, people buy the same idea back in plastic containers with elite branding attached. So, which hack surprised you the most? Let us know in the comment section below and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.